The President, please be seated. The court is now in session. As scheduled, today the chamber is hearing the testimony of TCW 801. Mr. Saikobote is now directed to report to the chamber the current status of the parties to the proceedings today. The Graffier. Good morning, Mr. President and Your Honors. All the parties to the proceeding are present. Mr. Nunjie is present in his holding cell based on the decision made by the trial chamber, and it is because due to his health. Today the chamber is hearing TCW 801, and according to the best knowledge of the witness says the witness is not in a relationship with an accused or a civil party as provided in Rule 2 of Rule 24, and the witness already took the oath. The witness will be assisted by the jury counsel, Mr. Mom Ratir, and the witness has no. Today there is no reserved witness. The President, thank you. Court officer is now directed to bring in the witness for today, please. The President. Good morning, Mr. Witness. What's your name? The President. Mr. Witness, could you please hold on a little bit? Wait until you see the red light activated on that console before you proceed to respond. Otherwise, your message would not be properly conveyed. Please be reminded that your message will be interpreted into two other working languages, including French and English. You may now proceed. Response. I am Nu Mao, alias Moke. Good morning, Mr. President and Your Honors. The President. Thank you, Mr. Mao. How old are you? Response. I am 78 years old. The President. Thank you. Where were you born, Mr. Mao? Response. I was born in Samaki village. Question. In which district and province, please? The President. Mr. Mao, please tell the chamber your birthplace again. The President. Mr. Witness, please answer again regarding the place of your birth. Tell the chamber which district, which province you were born in. Response. I was born in Odong district of Kampong Speu, and the village name is Yut Sam Maki. Question. Where do you live? Response. I live in Odong district of Kampong Speu, the same commune, but this time Tropang Thom village. Question. What do you do for a living? Response. I am a peasant. In the past, I used to climb sugar palm trees to collect sugar palm for making sugar. Question. What's your father's name? Response. He is Nu, and I am Nu Mao. However, this is the way they know us in our Tropang Thom village. Question. What's your mother's name? Response. She is Khun But. Question. What's your wife's name and how many children do you have? Response. She is Large Non, and we have 7 children. The President. Thank you, Mr. Nu Mao. According to the report by the greffier of the trial chamber, and to the best of your knowledge, you are not in a relationship with the accused or civil party in this case. In other words, you are not in the relationship with the 2 accused, Mr. Kyosampon and Noon Jie, and that you already took the oath on the 12th of June 2013. Is that correct? Response. Yes, it is. I already took the oath here. The President. Thank you, Mr. Nu Mao. Now the Chamber would like to notify you of your right under Rule 28, right against self-incrimination of witnesses. As a witness, you may object to making any statement that might tend to incriminate you. In other words, you have the right not to incriminate yourself. And as the witness, Mr. Nu Mau, you shall respond to all the questions put by the judges of the bench and the parties to the proceedings, and you shall speak the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And you shall respond to all the questions based on your experiences and the events you have come across. And please be straight to the questions put to you in your response. Mr. Mr. Nu Mau, have you ever provided any interview to any of the co-investigators of the OCIJ office? Response: I gave interview to the international newspaper. Question: do you still recall where you provided such interview and in which year, please, if you remember? Response: it was a long time ago, and the events that happened over 30 years already could not make me remember everything, because now I am old and my memory is no longer good. And with that, I sincerely apologize if I cannot recollect the detailed information that I am expected of. The President: thank you, Mr. Mau. You just stated that currently you are Nu Mau alias Mok. I have a question to you. When did you begin using Mau as your name, and when exactly did you start using Mok as your name also? Response: at the beginning, I was Nu Mau. Then, in my commune unit, there were two persons having the same name. I mean, two persons bearing Mau as their names. And since I was used by the commune, the name had to be changed. The President: thank you. We would like to hand over to the co-prosecutors to begin putting questions to the witness before other parties to the proceedings. Lead co-lawyers for the civil parties will follow up with some questions, and both counsels will have half day for that.
Mr. President, Your Honours, good morning. May it please you. Good morning to my fellow counsel, and in particular, good morning to you, Nu Mau. My name is Keith Rayner, and I am one of the prosecutors in this case. You have already told the court that you remember giving an interview to an international newspaper a long time ago. We have on our court file document number D313/1.2.405. That document contains 9 pages of handwritten notes by an international man called Ben Kiernan. The document has your name in the form Nu Muk. The words Udong, 26 August 1981 appear. Does that refresh your memory about the interview with the international newspaper?
Response. I did give interview to the newspaper at Odong district office on one occasion, and it was on another occasion during the war. I was interviewed also. It was in the battlefield when the interview was taken, and the Commune Committee allowed me to lead people to bring people to the battlefield, to bring food to the soldiers, and also to fetch or carry the wounded combatants. And I was afraid. I was afraid because the Khmer Rouge did not spare any person, for example, a reporter who met them. They were lucky to meet me. Because on one occasion, as I remember, Odong was attacked and soldiers, prisoners of war, were evacuated to the west direction, all the way to the Tpong area, and a lot of people had been evacuated to that place. I don't know what happened to them. And in the battlefield, I may have to go back a little bit. I asked people to escape because at that time aerial bombardments were heavy. Some wounded people had to be brought to the rear, and that other people, including women combatants had to move into the battlefield to bring food to the soldiers. And that at that time I was approached by the reporter, and that I told them that they were lucky to see me, and I also advised that they had to make their way to the territory controlled by the Lonol. And at that time, that area was controlled by Chan Rang Say. Later on, surveillance was carried out against me, and I was accused of trying to arrange the escape for the American newspaper, news reporter. And I told them that I did not engage in arranging the escape of these reporters, because that happened during the war and it was chaotic, and that people had disappeared on their own volition. And later on, things didn't stop there, because they tried to find out more about what I had done to the reporters.
Thank you, Mr. Numu. I want to concentrate not on the interview. Oh, sorry. Mr. President, the witness is holding up a photograph which I believe may be relevant. Can I ask a question based on this document, please?
The President, you may proceed.
Mr. Numu, I've just seen you hold up in the courtroom a one-page photograph in black and white. Can I ask you, why did you bring that photograph to court, and who is the person shown on the photograph?
Response. The person in the photo is Ben Kiernan. Ben Kiernan was the journalist who interviewed me. I would like to read his name again. He is Ben Kiernan, and I still recognize him. And indeed, I am reading out his name so that the message is clear that this is the person we are referring to. And please forgive me if I do not remember every detail of this account. And I am an ordinary person who was meant to be used by other people in the regime, and I am never engaged in all of this, in particular in the Khmer Rouge. And when it comes to Khmer Rouge, the term in Khmer, Red Khmer, it means the people who were stained with red blood on their hands. And people were colored, labeled, executed discriminately. So again, the Khmer Rouge here is referring to those who had bloods in their hands.
Thank you. Mr. President, given that the witness, Mr. Nu Mao, has now confirmed that he gave the interview with Ben Kiernan, has referred to a photograph of Ben Kiernan, and made it clear that he wants that name to be recorded, and given that this interview took place 31 years ago, it is my respectful application that this witness, like other witnesses, should be provided now with a copy of this relevant document so that the question and answers make sense to him. Can I please proceed in that fashion?
The President, counsel for Mr. Kilsampan, you may proceed first.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, good morning to you. Good morning to everyone in the courtroom and to the parties. I think there is a shortcut here which is rather too fast. Before showing the notes of the interview to the witness, I think he should lay the foundation. For instance, under what circumstances were the notes taken? Did he have an opportunity to see those notes? I think a number of preliminary questions ought to be put to the witness, and it has always been the practice of the chamber to show the witness a document, to ask him whether the witness was aware of the contents before and whether the witness was shown the document after the interview. So I object to having questions put to this witness before the foundation has been properly laid.
Mr. President, I'm happy to ask some questions, but can we please bear this in mind, that Mr. Numau has already told the court the events happened a long time ago, over 30 years, and it could not make me remember everything. I am old, and my memory is no longer good. And that was followed by an apology. So I'm going to ask some questions, but then I'm going to repeat my application. Mr. Numau, when Ben Kiernan came to interview you, do you remember if he came on his own or with another international man?
Response. Later on, they came to conduct research at Udong district, and I also was accused. They didn't arrest or detain me. I was allowed to raise domestic animals in Udong district.
Mr. Numau, please forgive me. I'm just trying to concentrate on this interview with Ben Kiernan. Now, his document suggests that that interview happened after the Vietnamese had invaded, 2 years afterwards, in 1981, on the 26th of August 1981. Now, does that date of 1981 sound about right to you for the date when you gave the interview to Ben Kiernan?
Yes, that is correct. He went to see me with 2 cars at that time. He was looking for me. He asked me as to how far was it from Adong to Phnom Cham to Kum Cheng Ra, and I told him that I did not know it either.
So when he... Sorry. When Ben Kiernan came to see you in 2 cars, Was there another person with him, or was he on his own, to your recollection?
He went along in two cars, and there were several people, male and female, but prior to conducting interview with me, he offered me a cigarette, and I did smoke that cigarette. When I finished the cigarette for about 1 or 2 minutes, then he started asking me. At the place, there were 2 beds where we sat on, and we started the interview. So it is correct, as reported in this document. I did provide an interview with him. However, I wish to note that I have forgotten much of its detail.
Which village did this interview take place in?
It was at the district hall.
Did Mr. Kiernan ask you questions in Khmer or another language, which was translated?
No, he did not speak Khmer, but it was translated into Khmer.
When he asked you questions, do you remember if he had some paper and a pen and wrote down your answers?
I did not take any notes. He could have taken some notes because he wanted information from me.
Do you remember if any of the people in the room were using a tape recorder of some kind?
Yes, there was someone recording the interview using audio equipment.
Does the name Michael Vickery ring any bells?
I only recall that I had met this person during the war time. In the battle, I once met him, and then he again tried to look for me, and he came all the way to meet me for that interview again.
Mr. President, in my respectful submission, the evidential foundation has now been laid. Can I please, with your permission, hand a copy of this interview to Nu Mao in Khmer?
The President. International Council, Mr. Victor Kope, you may proceed.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Good morning, Mr. President. Your Honours, as I said, we also object to this procedure. No basis whatsoever has been laid. It's obvious that this witness doesn't speak English, so the document that we have in front of us is a written form, is a written document laying down the content of the interview. This witness only speaks Khmer, so there's really no relevance for this document to be presented to the witness, so we object.
Yes, Mr. President, just to add to what I said a while earlier, to which I have not yet, as I see it, received an answer. I understand that the co-prosecutor is telling us that the witness can remember having been interviewed by Ben Kiernan. The question was asked about the translation, but we don't know who was doing that translation or interpretation, and I believe that's important to establish. Moreover, the question I was asking, and which should be put to the witness, is, was he at any specific moment able to reread the notes that had been taken, so as to see if he was able to make any corrections on what had been written down? Just to repeat then, I think that before showing notes taken on that day in English by Ben Kiernan is to know whether the witness was able to read the notes and which person was doing the interpreting. One further point, and this doesn't come out in the document, if we don't know whether these notes were taken by Ben Kiernan on that specific day or if it was done subsequently afterwards, and we need to establish this from the witness before putting to him a document about which we know very little as to how it was drafted or prepared, given the fact that Ben Kiernan himself did not wish to come to testify before this chamber.
Mr. President, my learned friends can make whatever questions they want to by way of cross-examination going to the weight or probative value of this document. They are doing that now. They are not making, in my submission, observations as to the admissibility of this document. This document has been on the case file for many years. It has been available to all parties. It is on the prosecution Rule 80 list. It is in revised Annex 12. And in my respectful submission, this witness should not be put at a disadvantage, especially because of the time lapse since the giving of this interview. As we all know, countless witnesses before this court have been entitled to refresh their memory from documents written as recently as 2009. Here we have a witness, an elderly witness, who is saying to this court that he cannot accurately recall all the events. And in my submission, justice and fairness now require that he should be entitled, as with every other witness, to refresh his memory. Can I also add that it's incorrect to categorise the history of this case as far as Ben Kiernan is concerned, to say that he refused to testify. He, in fact, asked to testify by video link. But, Mr. President, we've now spent half an hour on this. Can I please ask to proceed in the manner suggested? I can see my friends on her feet. I ask you not to allow her to make further submissions and for this testimony to proceed.
The President, that is correct. The Council has not granted the floor to reply to this issue. The President, I hand over the floor to Judge Silver Cartwright to clarify on this issue to the parties concerning the document subject to examination now. Judge, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you, President. First, a procedural matter where an objection has been made and responded to, the Chamber will not normally allow a further reply by the objectors. As to the objections themselves, the Chamber accepts that this document, that sufficient groundwork has been laid for this document to be the subject of questioning of the witness. This will be, of course, includes questioning by the defence and ultimately the weight that will be placed on the document is for the Chamber to determine. So the objections are not sustained. Thank you, President.
Mr. Newmore, can you tell us, please, what year it was when you joined the revolution?
I have forgotten the date because it has been a long time. I could respond to you if I had a chance to look at the document, and I can refer to my earlier statement. I have forgotten. I am becoming more forgetful now. I cannot recall the exact date when I joined the revolution.
Mr. President, with your leave, can I now please supply a copy of the statement in Khmer?
The President, you may proceed. Court officer, please obtain a hard copy document from the prosecutor and hand it over to the witness for his examination.
Mr. President, I could see that my learned friend Mr. Copy was on his feet, and I don't want to do this without him being given the chance to object.
I don't understand, Mr. President, that's why I object, why the Khmer translation of the original document should be given to the witness. The original document is English, and if he has anything intelligent to say about this document, he should be confronted with the English original version and not with the Khmer translation.
That's ridiculous, Mr. President. Can I please proceed?
The President, Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Mr. Numa, that document has large black numbers in the top left hand of each page. I know your duty counsel will assist. If you look at the Khmer page with this number, 009 09936, I give the English and Khmer whilst you find English and French whilst you find that page. English 00419 458. French 0089 35. Sorry, French 3548. The Khmer page, forgive me, is 009 09939. It's a combination of those pages where you said that you joined the revolution in 1971 and you joined the party in 1972. Do those dates sound about right? Can I ask duty counsel to try and assist the witness to get to page number Khmer 009 09936? It's the first page. And on that page, you state that you joined the revolution in 1971. To your recollection, was it 1971 when you joined the revolution?
At the time, I was a member of the Commune Party in Chương Ras. I joined the revolution in 1971. And prior to 1971, prior to joining the revolution, I was a farmer in Kampot province.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Numero. I want to ask you about a meeting that you discussed in these notes. It was a 1972 meeting when Tamok meant some monks, and I quote from these notes. In 1972, at a meeting of over 3,000 monks in Kampong Chhnang, Mok said, "Don't let the Vietnamese troops station in the Wats or in villages. They can only buy food with permission written." Close quote. Did Mock explain why these instructions were to be implemented involving the Vietnamese?
Tamok convened a general meeting. Somewhere I forget.
In the same notes, it's English ERN 00419464, Khmer 009099943, and French 00893550. You stated as follows about this meeting, and I quote, "I was there, invited by 2 monks. There was then no Patriotic Monks Association. The monks' meeting was to get them to defrock, to join the army." End quote. My question is, do you know if any monks joined the army after this meeting?
I have forgotten it.
I want to move on to which positions were held by Ta Mok and Chu Chet in the southwest zone. What position did Chu Chet have?
Chu Chet was in charge of political affairs at that time. As for Tamok, he was in charge of military affairs. Both Chu Chet and Tamok at the beginning, Chu Chet was more senior. So Chu Chet was tasked to discuss with monks. He lured monks to join the army. So at that time, correction interpreter, Tamok, not Chu Chet. So Tamok convened a meeting of monks to lure them to the frog. I do not recall the year when he convened that meeting, but at that time all monks were defrocked and they were supposed to join the army. That is all what I knew at that time.
You say in these notes that Chu Chet's alias was CSY. And you also say that he was in the Central Committee.
The President, witness, please hold on. Mr. Victor Kope, you may proceed.
Yes, Mr. President, I do object against the way of questioning by the prosecutor. It's now being said that this witness said in this statement, or that he stated. No, what we have in front of us is an English version of a transcript. He might have said that, we don't know. It's not an official statement taken by official investigators or by a judge. It's just a handwritten verbatim report of what might have been said by this witness during that interview. We should not pretend here today that this is an official witness statement in conformity with all relevant procedures. It's just a piece of paper, presumably writing down what this witness has said to Keenan, nothing more. So I really object to the words "you stated" or "you said."
Mr. President, again, submissions about weight, not admissibility. I will use different wording than you said. This document records you telling Mr. Kiernan that C was in the Central Committee. Was C in the Central Committee? And if so, how did you know this?
Well,
The President, witness, please hold on. Counsel for Mr. Nuntia, you may proceed.
I keep objecting to this method, Mr. President, and the way that this is going, I find ridiculous. First saying that the witness is recorded as having said that he is a member of the Central Committee, and then asking the same question. That is the very definition of a leading question. It shouldn't be done like that. Just ask open questions as you would do in a normal court.
Mr. President, I think this is the fourth occasion upon which, when I've been asking questions, Mr. Koppe has made this exact submission. I have counted it on 4 occasions. You have overruled him on 4 occasions. Do I have to repeat again that this practice has been well established before this tribunal? I know on occasions last year when Mr. Koppe was not here, but I am proceeding in accordance with your direction, Mr. President, repeated on at least 4 occasions. Can I proceed?
The President, I believe there are 2 issues here. First, you already promised to counsel that you would like to reframe your line of questioning. Nonetheless, the line of questioning appears to be the same as the previous questions before the objection was made. We believe that if you honored the promise, then the problems would not arise. We did not take action regarding the objection recently by Counsel Koppe because we were expecting your reframing, your way of questioning the witness. With that, the Chamber would like you to take into account this. And if you resort to going back to the same line of questioning, then you would risk such objection. The objection sustained, so Mr. Co-Prosecutor, you are now instructed to re-put the question in different ways, and that the way the document is being treated before the chamber should be not the way we treat the document as the statement before the co-investigators.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Numu, do you know if Chu Chet held any positions beyond those in the southwest zone?
Response. Chuchet Elia C. was in charge of politics, and he was very good at that. He was good at mobilizing people behind him. And Mok was in charge of the military. However, Chuchet gained more popularity from the civilian than Mok, because Mok was popular among the military.
Did you ever receive any instructions, teaching or study sessions where Chu Chet was the teacher?
Response. Yes, I was. He taught me at a pagoda in Tupong area. I forget the name of that pagoda already, I believe. And the study sessions were conducted to the north of Kai Tok Pagoda, and about 300 people attended the sessions. Although it stated in this record that about 300 people attended the sessions, but to me, I believe that there were about 200 people, and the session lasted for about 2 months. And the attendees were those potential cadres who would be tasked with mobilizing people to join the resistance movement to liberate the country. So I can say now that there were about 200 participants in that section, and the interpreter corrects the session lasts for about 1 month or so.
Now, when Chu Chet was teaching, did he ever say anything about the Vietnamese and how you should treat the Vietnamese?
Response. He didn't mention about the Vietnamese or Vietnam. I don't remember hearing him say it in that session, but Vietnam or Vietnamese were regarded as the friends of Cambodia. Vietnamese helped Cambodia. That's what he said about Vietnam.
Now, can you now remember where the study sessions took place?
Response. They were conducted at Bong district to the north of Kai Tok Pagoda, it was about 2 kilometers from that pagoda, and the place where we attended the sessions was near the river bank, and the session that was carried out for about 1 month or so. And in the study sessions, Vietnamese were not regarded as the enemies, and that's what he taught us. And the sessions were for the cadres who attended, and we were all instructed not to treat the Vietnamese as our enemies, but friends, because they helped Cambodia.
Apart from being taught by Chu Chet, can you now remember the names of the other teachers?
Response. I don't remember all the teachers. I'm afraid I don't recollect those names. So, frankly, I do not wish to hide anything, but my memory does not serve me well to recollect the event. It was a long, long time ago.
Can you now remember the exact year when you were being lectured by Chu Chet?
Response. No, I don't remember the exact year. I don't.
Mr. President, the witness has now said he does not remember the exact year and he does not remember the names of other teachers. This material is contained in the Ben Kiernan notes, and I do apply, having asked open-ended questions, now to put the document to see if it refreshes the witness's memory.
The President, you may proceed.
The record states from this interview as follows, quote, at Kantut in 1973, there were 200, sometimes 150 people, cadres, studying. Teachers were Si Mok Pai, close quote. That is on English page 004194458, Khmer 00909936, and French 00893546. Mr. Numu, has that refreshed your memory that it was in 1973 and the other teachers were Mok and Pai?
Response. Yes, I now remember Mok. Mok came to lecture in the study sessions at a later date already, and he was from the military, and I don't remember the other names because I have not taken note of these individuals.
Can you remember now what you studied during the study sessions?
Response. During the study sessions, I remember first we were educated, we the cadres were lectured, and that our detailed biographies would be asked to produce, and we had to write down our class status, for example, worker or peasant classes, and that we were encouraged in the sessions to go to the people to convince them to join the resistance movement to liberate the country. Unfortunately, I have not had a copy of the notes that I would take during the study sessions.
During the study sessions, did you have to have... Sorry, let me repeat. During the study sessions, did you ever have to study documents?
Response. No, I didn't. I didn't have any documents left with me. And the reason I said no, because after the war, no such document was ever kept, and even my house and property was burned during the war.
The question was more on this line. When the teachers were teaching you, did they ever refer to documentation?
Response. I'm afraid I cannot respond to this question because the things happened a very long time ago, and my memory again is not good enough to recollect what should be the detail of the study materials. I can't exactly object to materials being distributed in the study sessions, but I just would like to say that we have experienced these wars and bombardments and all the suffering, and for that I don't think my memory is good, and I'm very sorry if this statement is out of the topic and that I'm not answering to your question. I just attended the political study sessions lectured by Juchet Eliassi and a few other, and this is the account I still recollect, and I am sorry if I cannot recall everything.
Mr. President, I've asked open-ended questions about the details of these study sessions. The Ben Kiernan document does cover the detail. Can I please again now use this document as a memory-refreshing document?
Response. You may proceed. Rather, the President, you may proceed.
Numet, this document states, I quote, We studied documents on the situation in Cambodia fighting the imperialists, on the plan to evacuate the people from the enemy when Mok taught us, close quote. Does that refresh your memory that you were taught about the plan to evacuate the people from the enemy?
The President, witness, hold down. Counsel Kung Som On, you may now proceed. Counsel Kung Som On. Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask that co-prosecutor refer to the EON number of the document he now citing from?
Yes, forgive me, it's the same ERNs as the last entry. So Khmer 009-09936, French 00893546, and English 00419458. Mr. Numu, my question was, has this now refreshed your memory that you studied the plan to evacuate the people from the enemy?
Response. Tamok talked about the evacuation of the people from Phnom Penh. As for Juchet, he said that people should not be evacuated. And at that time, Mok was in charge of the military, and that Juchet alias C was talking about not evacuating the people from Phnom Penh. Nonetheless, his objection was challenged by Mok, who would like all people in the cities be evacuated. This is what I learned during the political sessions.
Just so I'm clear, did you personally hear Tamok talking about evacuating people from Phnom Penh at one of these meetings?
Response. Yes, I did. Sometimes he asked me to attend military meetings, and he would then talk about attacking Phnom Penh, and that immediately after liberating Phnom Penh, all the population in the cities had to be evacuated. And he even pinpointed that every walk of life in the city, regardless of officials or civilians, had to be finally evacuated. And he at times also warned the local cadres, in particular those who challenged such evacuation. There were some people who did not agree with the idea that the people should be evacuated from the city. They were of the opinion that such people or the city dwellers would not know much about farming, and they would be allowed to stay where they were. And these people, after all, after expressing such opposing ideas to the evacuation of the population from the cities, would then be reprimanded by Tamok, by Mok on several occasions. That's all.
Now, did Tamok talk about attacking Phnom Penh and all the people being evacuated just on one occasion or more than one occasion? In other words, did you hear this just once from Tamok, or did you hear it more than once from Tamok?
Response. During the meetings where cadres from the base attended, he would talk about this, and this is what I learned from him. I heard what he said, and these cadres from the base would be lectured on how or when the city was liberated and that the population had to be evacuated from Tamok idea.
Did Tamok say where the people were going to be evacuated to after Phnom Penh?
Response. Tamok would evacuate the population to different or every zone, including the southwest zone. And people from Kandal province and also the west zone, all of them were evacuated en masse. And the people who had been evacuated from Phnom Penh were placed to live in the cooperatives. Some died, some had to work hard to dig for some roots to supplement their food ration. I hope I answered your question.
When Tamok was speaking about the plan in 1973, did he say whether this plan was just one involving the southwest zone that you were in, or was it to involve other zones?
Response. He said the plan involved the whole country, regardless of the southwest, the north, the east. Everyone had to be evacuated from the city.
When Tamok spoke of the plan, with all having to be evacuated from Phnom Penh, from every walk of life, did he explain further what he meant by all walks of life?
Response. I'm afraid I can't answer this because I was at that time wounded and engaged in the battlefield, too engaged to observe more closely what Tamok could have been saying or referring to, because I had several medical reasons that I became very ill, and I had to be admitted to the hospital and discharged from duty.
Did Tamok explain to you why the people needed to be evacuated?
Response. I don't know about this, because after I became very ill, I was no longer useful to them, and they did not use me anymore.
At the meeting when Tamok was talking about the plan, and you were there, was Chuchet also present?
Response. I don't remember whether he was there. I don't know. I can't say about this because, again, I end up being severely injured in the battlefield and then admitted to a hospital, and I had to buy some medicine from Phnom Penh because I was bleeding a lot and I became very emaciated and I couldn't do anything.
After the meeting when Tamok spoke of the plan to evacuate, did you go to any smaller meetings when evacuation was discussed?
I heard a rumor from other peoples, particularly from lower-ranking cadres at the commune level. As I said, because of my health status, I needed to be hospitalized, and then I had to stay at home all the time, so they no longer needed me. I was no longer involved.
Mr. Numu, can I make it plain to you that I'm not suggesting that you've done anything wrong? Do you understand that? I'll move on. You said earlier that Chuchet was against the evacuation. How did you know this or find this out?
He talked in the training session when he provided a political training session. He actually was the one who opened a training center for training cadres, and he also talked about it during a informal session in the jungle. He made mention of it.
What were you thinking when you'd heard Tamok talking of a plan to evacuate all people from Phnom Penh? And then you heard Chuchet saying he was against the evacuation. How did you feel with those two different pieces of information?
One was from the political section, the other was from military section. From political section, they induced people to evacuate, and it was and as Tamok, he was in charge of military affairs, and he said that people had to be evacuated irregardless of the zones, whether they were from southwest zone or any zone. But I did not know whether or not the plan was eventually evacuated. But that's what I heard, that he was determined that evacuation had to take place. I cannot say anything about their decisions, because at that time
Mr. Numu, the answer that came over interpretation was, I didn't know about their decisions at that time. It sounded like you were going to say some extra words. Were you or not? I'll move on. Can you tell us if Tamok ever spoke about what was to happen to the Khmer Hanoi?
There was a group of Khmer resistant forces known as Khmer Diệt Minh. They came to assist Cambodian people. There were approximately 2,000 or 3,000 of them were arrested. Those Cambodian people had been to Vietnam before. There were approximately 3,000 of them. Later on, the resistance gained momentum. They sent those Khmer resistance forces carrying a backpack as well as some AK rifle and shotgun. They came to Cambodia and then they were divided into various communes in the country, and they worked as experts. Those who were trained in army in Vietnam would be attached to the army. Those who were trained in Vietnam to be cultural experts, they were attached to cultural affairs. So there were different sections that they were divided. And when they were mobilized to fight against Ronald soldier in the battles, later they gathered those people. The Cambodian Hanoi people, they actually gathered all of them from the commune level as well as the military sections. They gathered those people. Then those people mysteriously disappeared. Nobody knew where they had been. I could say that the number were around roughly over 2,000. They disappeared. I did not know where they were sent to. They never returned. That's what I knew, and by my experience back then. The President, thank you, Mr. Prosecutor, and thank you, Mr. Witness. The time is now appropriate for adjournment. The chamber will adjourn now and resume at 11. Court officer is instructed to assist the witness during the break and have him return to this courtroom by 11. The court is adjourned.
សូមក្រោកឈរ